Well, first off, apologies that the audio may suffer a little bit. I'm doing this right off the cuff, not in the best ideal environment, but these are my initial thoughts. Well, aesthetically, it looked amazing. The music, the cinematography, the body movements by Michael, or one of the Michaels, and the performances seem on point. The dialogue was a little cringy, seemed a little too melodramatic. Some of the camera angles were kind of interesting, although why Allison is where she is, why she's playing on the piano, but in terms of the substance of the story, because now we're piecing together better what the plot structure is, it's pretty much a complete disaster. Because if that is Corey at the end in the kitchen facing Lori, wow. So he just has super strength? When? How? And if he is, quote, the killer of the redhead and some of the other people, that's a lot of problems you brought up because just in terms of his height, he doesn't look like Michael. He's just not as tall. We could, of course, we can hand wave a few things, but really, a couple of boots are not going to give you the height of Michael Myers. So this isn't making a whole lot of sense. But again, it's just a TV spot. We haven't even seen the full trailer that will come out later. This may be different from the movie itself, but it does really feel like this is just very, very flimsy. And it is official that Green has said he's not really going to explain what has been going on with Michael in the sewers. And that is confirmed now that Corey and Michael did meet in the sewers. So the believability of this narrative is pretty weak. It was already on thin ground, but now it's like there's not much here. It's almost complete fantasy. You can't believe almost anything now that they've introduced a copycat. It just feels all very, very weak and silly. That said, it does look good. We haven't really seen the full performance of Corey. We now know a little bit more about Corey, but it just isn't making a lot of sense. Like, what is he up to? Why is he doing this? If we believe the leaks or how he would do this, why aren't there more cameras around? Why aren't the police more active? Where is the FBI? Where is the CIA? Why aren't there more agencies involved? I mean, they just had a massive massacre with Michael. This guy's now a notorious serial killer. It should be world famous what is going on with Haddonfield. But suddenly, Michael can just show up again and he can disappear when he wants. So it's very disappointing. But there are some nuggets here and there because we also get confirmation on some earlier theories with the radio tower. I will do more work on that. So there is some good stuff here and there. And if you are a fan, you will spot a lot of Easter eggs. Those are good. The Easter eggs given were pretty nice. So there is some good stuff to appreciate. But within the mix, it is kind of a huge mess. Hopefully, when it's actually put together and they decide on one of the endings, it will come off a lot better than it's being presented here. And I will say this is one of the few TV spots that looks good. The other ones look all murky and fuzzy, even ones that are professional. So it's finally good to at least get a clearer idea of what the hell they're doing, because before we couldn't really tell anything. Hands and faces were too fuzzy. So at least the marketing is looking and getting better. Really shocking. It really does feel like they stole a Scream plot and just inserted it lazily into this narrative. It wasn't even what they wanted to set up with Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. So it all feels very disjointed, very improvised, and not in a good artistic way, but in a very cynical, marketed way, just to pump up the initial audience, which is probably going to be very disappointed and not return to the theaters. That's my initial take. So it's a fairly negative viewpoint of what they're up to, but some very good things within the larger narrative they're crafting. And I'm sure those things will be implemented fairly well in terms of the cameos, the callbacks, the music. But it does feel very, very weak at the end of the day. So a lot more to look at and analyze. I like what it's trying to do, but I think what it is actually doing is pretty damn silly and stupid. And at this point, if you did like this trilogy, and I want to be clear, I have not liked this trilogy, but if you did like it, it will be severely disappointing, whatever they're going to cook up finally, because I just don't see how we're going to make so many amazing assumptions for all of this to come together and cohere. And that's where I stand with initial thoughts.